My name is Ian Hockley, and I'm the founder and executive director of Dylan's Wings of Change. And thank you very much for watching my video, where I'd like to talk to you about the butterfly effect. I grew up in England, and I was very fortunate to go to good college, got a good job, and had two wonderful boys, Jake and Dylan. And really dream come true. We got to move to the United States in 2011, and it was really like coming home because their mom, Nicole, was born in Rhode Island, and Jake's birthday was the 4th of July. And we moved to the wonderful village of Sandy Hook, and we knew the boys would get the best possible start at the elementary school there. And then everything fell apart on December 14th, 2012, and Dylan was one of the first graders that was killed in the mass shooting that also killed 19 of his classmates and 6 of their brave educators. And that was really a pivot point in our lives. And as everything had fallen apart and we were trying to make sense of what to do next, I always remember Jake asking how we'd ever find happiness again. And it was one of the most difficult questions I've ever had to answer for one of my children. And really I could only describe it as, Jake, we have to gather up all our happy memories that we had from when Dylan was with us, and we will always have the sadness of his death, but we have to merge these together and carry them forward together, and then we have to continue to look for all the happy moments in life and find new meaning in things. And one thing that helped me immensely was finding meaning from the work we did in Dylan's memory by creating a foundation. We created a foundation called Dylan's Wings of Change, and that foundation fostered the Wingman program, which is a youth-led social and emotional learning program that's available for schools, also available for any youth organization. And as we've been working on the Wingman program, and we've been working with children the past 5 years, we've been talking about an epidemic. And if you're listening to this in July 2020, when we're in the midst of the COVID pandemic, this might resonate that this epidemic that we've been experiencing, this epidemic of social isolation and exclusion, has been around for decades. And this is an equally deadly epidemic. This is something that is causing people of all ages to feel they don't fit in, they can't be themselves, they feel isolated, excluded, and alone. And when that happens, they're growing up in dark places, and it's leading to bad things, right? People are hurting themselves, they're hurting other people. Young people are taking their own lives, they're seeing no way out, they see they have no safety net, or they're turning that violence outside and harming others. And we've been working on this through the Foundation and the Wingman program and realizing that there is an antidote. There is an antidote to this epidemic, and that is empathy. However you'd like to describe that, if it's to be able to understand someone else's feelings, or to walk a mile in their shoes, or the ability to hold space for someone just so that they can work through what they're dealing with. It was once described to me compared to sympathy. So if there's someone stuck down a hole, they're trapped, and someone would come along and look down the hole and say, I'm really sorry you're stuck in that hole, goodbye. That's sympathy, that's that feeling of sadness for them, but then leaving them. Whereas an empathetic person jumps in the hole and says, you know what, I was stuck in a hole once. It wasn't this hole, but I'm here for you until you work it out, and we'll get you out of this hole. And empathy also, that almost highest of emotions, and something that you don't learn, you're not taught it. It has to be fostered inside someone. And actually, it's at the end of a great journey, which starts with kindness and respect, and generosity and gratitude, and they're like the foundation stones, and that's why we teach them to our young people. We try and instill those qualities, and then you can build resilience and perseverance, and they'll learn to find hope, and they'll get courage and find their voice and develop empathy. And if we can help foster that empathy in them, they will change the world. They'll change the world because they'll see other people first and understand their struggles and want to make change. They will want to be the change agents. And why I started off by saying that this would be about the butterfly effect really is back to Dylan. We have so many fond memories of him and his little quirks. Dylan loved the colour purple. He'd come home from preschool every day with huge sheets of paper, and he'd made purple blobs, and he'd proudly show them to us. He was fascinated by the moon, and it would change shape every night, and he could never work out why. He was only 6 years old. He loved bouncing on the trampoline with his brother Jake and I. And Dylan had autism, and it was affecting him. It made him a very shy little boy. He struggled to communicate his thoughts and feelings and needs. He couldn't find the words always. He could make us understand, but the other kids wouldn't necessarily take the time to explain things over and again and give him what he needed. So he could find himself sometimes being left out. And he used to flap. When he got really, really excited, he would jump up and down and flap his hands. And one day Nicole asked him, I think the boys had been playing Mario Kart, and Dylan had beaten his older brother Jake. And he was so excited, he was jumping up and down and flapping. And Dylan said, and Nicole said, Dylan, why do you flap? And she just wanted to see what he would say. She wasn't sure if he understood the question or if he was that self-aware. And he looked at her with those big blue eyes and he said, Mummy, I'm a beautiful butterfly. And that stuck with us, and that memory carried it through. And the butterfly effect is when many small changes accumulate. They can throw off a system. In chaos theory, even minute changes will throw your experiment off. Or maybe a little romantically, the butterfly will flap its wings and cause a hurricane on the other side of the world. But really, just so many small kindnesses will accumulate. The ripples spread out. Dylan, even though he struggled to express himself through his words, could always express himself through his feelings. At his heart, he was just pure joy. And he wanted to be happy, and he wanted those around him to be happy. If he saw that you were not for any reason, he'd come up, put his head on one side and just say, why sad? And really want to know why, and then he'd do something to try and cheer you up. And that person who's looking up and out for other people and wanting to make a change to their day, right? That's not there just to put people down, is there to pick them up, is almost the essence of a wingman, someone who's there for other people first and will create their own butterfly effect. When the kids realize that they have the power, not just to change someone else's day, but to change the way it feels to be in their school, when they realize their voice matters, when they realize people are listening to them, and they realize this superpower is not so hard, then they'll truly change the world. And that really will be the butterfly effect. Thank you very much for listening today. I really appreciate your time.